Over 200 experts have shared their secrets to a successful business. Join me, Rose Davidson, as I discover how these experts took their businesses to the next level.
Talking with the experts.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. Talking about all things business by business owners for business owners. Episode 240 with Stephanie Obi.
You know, it's one thing to be an expert in what you do. You know, you're like for you, for instance, you're an expert in podcast. You've been doing it for so long. If I wake you up from sleep and say, hey, can you tell me how do I go live? You know, you can quickly just start talking. We don't need to prepare for 3 weeks. You already built mastery. Now, but the issue is that it's one thing to have mastery in your topic, it's another thing to know how to offer it as a package that people want to buy. So that's where the trick always comes, because when people are trying to sell their expertise, they'll say things like, oh, I'm going to give you 15 lessons. I'm going to give you 2 days worth of content, you know, but that's not what people are looking for. People are looking for a transformation. People want to know that if I start my podcast, this is going to change in my life. It's going to change in my business. It's going to change in, you know, so when you learn how to speak the language of transformation, knowing what exactly people want, and then you use that to design your online course.
Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. My name's Rose Davidson, your host from rosedavidson.com, and today my guest is Stephanie Obi from Nigeria. And we're going to be discussing launching a 6-figure online course. Now, Stephanie is an award-winning business coach who has inspired thousands of African women to turn their expertise into wealth. She has pioneered the online course movement in West Africa and has spent the last 6 years equipping women to tap into the $370 billion market. She has helped some of Forbes Africa's most powerful women to launch their courses and is the author of the Amazon best-selling book, Knowledge is the New Gold. Welcome, Stephanie, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad. I'm excited, and so we're both excited. It's good. It's good stuff today. Now, tell me a little bit about your founding of Train Quarters. It's the first female-owned tech platform that provides tech support to female course creators. How did you get into that, and why did you do it?
Okay, that's an amazing question. So I had been helping women to create online courses for some years, and I noticed that one of the biggest roadblocks was tech. So there's the fear of tech, there's the I don't have time to learn this. I have so much I'm dealing with. I can't add tech to it. And so when we started thinking about how we could help women, we started by, you know, helping them build online course websites one by one, but that wasn't scalable. And so in order to scale up the impact, we decided to launch a tech platform. So that's really how we started. And before I knew what was going on, I was a tech founder.
It's not, I find with people that I work with and, you know, people that I know through my networks that a lot of females are tech phobic. They just do not understand how it works, but they won't ask for help either. And that makes it really difficult because they think that they have to be and have it all. And, you know, sometimes people aren't wired to understand the ins and outs of a program or you know, the technical knowledge they need to, you know, build a website or, you know, do marketing online or whatever. So how does your company help women overcome this technophobia or, you know, fear of being seen as being smart?
Okay. So the truth of the matter is that these issues of tech phobia and all of that, they didn't just start today. They started a very long time ago. Many times they started when the lady was a child. And so several things have been programmed into her that makes her feel as if she can do it. All right. So even now that she's older and she now operates several tech devices, like she operates a phone, she operates a laptop, she still feels that she can't do it. And this stops her from building tech businesses. So what we decided to do is just to help. So we provide tech support. There are many ways that we can try to solve this problem. Sometimes you can try to solve it using therapy and trying to speak the fear out of them. But what we found is that if we just even provide a service that just helps them to create the pages, upload the courses, create their videos and things like that, they don't feel like the burden is on them. They feel like they get support from some other person who is doing it for them. And so they're able to move forward. So one of the ways that we found that solves this problem is by offering tech support.
That's great. There's a lot of companies here in Australia that offer tech support, but it's a male-dominated industry, and I have yet to find one that has females that are offering that sort of support. There seem to be a few and far between, or they're keeping themselves pretty quiet. So yeah, we might have to do a bit of research to drag them out of the bushes, as it were.
And I think that this work is so important because, like you mentioned, it's tech support and all of that is male-dominated. And so what happens when most of the tech businesses or most of the tech platforms are being how do I put it, are being led by men? What happens is that we have a lopsided view of the world.
We do, yeah.
Lopsided product.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So,
this is not a male bashing session either, but the fact is that men speak a different language than women. A woman can say, well, I've got problems with this little button that does this thing and it sits next to this button, and a woman would most often understand what that means. But if you try and tell a man, he wants you to use the exact name, description, and what this button does, and we don't know sometimes. So it's really good that women speak the same language as us.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's important as anyone that's helping with tech. Now, you are providing the tech support for these women to build their courses, but I guess how can, once they've got the website and the course thing built, how can they build on that to make an income?
Okay, that's a great question. So many times when women begin to think about turning their expertise into an online course, some of the issues they face are things like, okay, what can I teach? Or I have an idea. How am I sure anyone is going to pay me for this? Who am I going to sell it to? I don't have a huge audience. Will anybody listen to me? I don't really want to be out there. I'm afraid. I'm not sure that people, what if they laugh at me? What if they say they're not interested? So there are a number of reasons, a number of things that start to sabotage women once they start to think about putting their work out there, turning their expertise into an online course and getting paid for it. So any form of imposter syndrome that is there, this is where it comes to shine. Like, who told you that you're good enough to do this? Why you? That was a fluke, you can't repeat it, So all those things begin to come up. And so one of the things that we help we help women to do is to start with their mindset, to help them to see that they can. And in fact, there are thousands, not thousands, millions of people out there who are looking for their expertise and who wants to learn from somebody who looks like them, sounds like them, has the lifestyle that they have, everything. There's somebody out there waiting for somebody like them to show up.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to be launching my podcast training next year, where
Fantastic.
I will be teaching entrepreneurs how they can have their own podcast, or I can provide a service where I do all the tech stuff and they just have to turn up. So yeah, either or. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to that because, even though there's like 2.3 million podcasts in the world, there's always someone who has something that somebody wants. And you're right, and we as women need to take that on board, that we are good enough and that, we do have stuff that we can offer others that people will pay for.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the first big part, helping women to see that and really believe it, because it's one thing to know about it, it's one thing to hear about it, it's one thing to see other people do it, it's another thing to say, okay, I can do it, this is possible for me. And it is possible for everyone. Like I'll tell you a quick story of how I got into this. I got in really early. At the time I used to make accessories made out of African prints. So there's an African print called Ankara, and I used to make these accessories. I had done this as a hobby for years. I had turned it into a side business. And I just used to do it all through my time in the university, all through my time in my first job. But one day I woke up with an urge to start sharing. I couldn't explain it. I was like, why do I feel like teaching? I feel like teaching what I know. And so I woke up with this urge, and I decided to turn my knowledge on how to make these accessories into a training program that would train other women on how to start an accessories business. And the business grew. Like the workshops grew. People started reaching out to me from outside Lagos saying, oh, Stephanie, I see you online marketing these training programs. Can I be a part of it? I can't travel to Lagos, but I really need this training. And that's how I decided to launch my first online course. So it was a big shocker to me to see that people outside my home city in Lagos, Nigeria, were interested in this training and were willing to pay for the classes. And that's how we started. So when I saw that people paid for these online classes, I felt like screaming, like, oh my God, why are more women doing this? There's so many women who have different skills, and you can literally turn that expertise into an online course and sell it to people all over the world. All right. So the first part is the mindset bit. And I really look forward to a time when there are more women who are creating online courses and creating and more examples so that people can get inspired. The second big thing is, it's one thing to be an expert in what you do. You're like for you, for instance, you're an expert in podcast. You've been doing it for so long. If I wake you up from sleep and say, hey, can you tell me how do I go live? Quickly, you can quickly just start talking. We don't need to prepare for 3 weeks. You already built mastery. Now, but the issue is that it's one thing to have mastery in your topic, it's another thing to know how to offer it as a package that people want to buy. So that's where the trick always comes, because when people are trying to sell their expertise, they'll say things like, oh, I'm going to give you 15 lessons. I'm going to give you 2 days worth of content, but that's not what people are looking for. People are looking for a transformation. People want to know that if I start my podcast, this is going to change in my life. It's going to change in my business. It's going to change in, so when you learn how to speak the language of transformation, knowing what exactly people want, and then you use that to design your online course and even design the marketing message. So goes to the sales page, the social media content, the emails you share, everything you're sharing, you're talking about this transformation people are going to go on, all right? And the vehicle of that transformation is now the online course.
Yeah, people are looking for an outcome. They don't necessarily want a solution. They want to know what they're going to get at the end. They don't care how they get there, as long as they get there. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people, I think, make a mistake when they are marketing their course or even going through their course. And I've done quite a few of these courses. They give a solution, but I don't want the solution. I just know what's going to happen when I get to the end. What's in it for me? How is this going to make it better? So, I don't want all the bits. I mean, you've got to do the bits and pieces, but I don't really give a shit about them in the advertising. I just want to know what I'm going to get at the end.
Yes. And, when you're clear about the transformation and how this course you're creating is going to help them to get to the end point, where their desired outcome is, you're going to find that more people will be interested in what you're saying, because they now understand the why. They now see themselves having this new outcome that they desire. So that's the second thing. The third major thing that helps women to successfully sell their courses is that you have to sell. You have to sell. And that's tricky, because when it's time to sell, except you've been trained in sales or you have some former, you did something in the past where you have to sell, putting yourself out there, pitching yourself can sound funny, tricky. Sometimes a lot of women launch their courses for the first time and maybe nobody pays for the course. It is disastrous. Like they just say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Meanwhile, if people don't pay for your course the first time, it's just feedback. It's just feedback. There's just something you need to tweak, in your marketing message or in your offer. And when you come back to it, it will sell. I have many instances of when I launched a course and nobody paid for. The first time it happened to me, I must admit, I cried. I was so embarrassed. When I launched a program that didn't sell, I was bent under my duvet and I was crying. I was like, oh my God, nobody wants me.
I can so relate to that. Yes.
But anyway, I remember that I picked myself up and I went to an event where they invited a speaker. So something just like this. They invited a speaker to speak. And then this speaker started sharing stories upon stories about how they had failed in the past. The speaker said, oh, one time I did this business and it failed. One time I did that business and it failed. One time and meanwhile, this speaker is now very successful. But, when on the outside, we all see the success, but we don't know all the things that they've been through. We don't know their stories. So as I listened to this speaker talk about all the times he had failed and how he picked himself up, I just said, wait a minute, why am I crying? This is normal. Like everybody goes through this. This is normal. And so I picked myself up again and I started tweaking and I started trying to find what mistake could I have made? What could I have done better? And that's why I got back in again. And this time, the next time I launched the program, 3 people signed up. All right. But this I always share this story because it changed my mindset around failure. It changed my mindset around, oh, what if I launch the course and nobody pays? If you launch the course and nobody pays, it's feedback. You can always still go back to that course and tweak it again. Because let's not forget that the major benefit of selling an online course is that once you create it, you can continue to sell it year after year.
Absolutely.
Year after year.
Yeah.
So if it takes you 3 months to figure out the winning combination, it's okay. What we are building is a product that would continue to sell, and will have a life of its own. You're going to have in a few years' time, you're going to have a whole army of men and women who have taken your course, who have gotten results, who have transformed their lives, and you also have money to show for it too. So the initial problems of maybe being too afraid to launch a course or being too afraid to fail or making mistakes, look, it's a phase and it will pass.
Well, yes, it does. I learned the hard way. Much like, your story, you put this course out and, you do give it the 6 weeks, lead time, and you do all this and, you really push it out there on social media and there's crickets. Oh my God, there's just nothing. No one even puts a like on the post or, oh, shit, what am I doing wrong? And go and hide in the bedroom like you did, But you're right. You just need to dust yourself off, get up off your butt and go and relook at it and change the words. It's the language that you use, that the people that need you don't know yet that they do need you, and you don't use the language that they understand. So, yes, it's quite simple when you and I say it. It's not so simple when you're trying to put it all together. It's easy to say, not so easy to do.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your book, Stephanie. That knowledge is the new gold. How did you come to write that?
Okay. So when I launched my first online course, like I shared earlier, it was just eye-opening to see that this market really existed. Because, it's very easy to see big names and say, oh, this big person can launch an online course and will sell. I can't launch it yet. So there are all these things that we used to tell ourselves about, oh, maybe when I'm older, maybe when I've lost a few pounds, maybe when I have all sorts of stories. So I found that women that I was interacting with were coming up with reasons why they felt that they could not. And so I decided to write a book to first of all explain the potential of the market. And this is, interestingly, this is an opportunity that is still growing. At the time I wrote the book, we didn't even have the COVID pandemic yet. All right. So, and what the pandemic has done is that it has just accelerated the rate of growth in the online course industry, because now everything online is now normal. Virtual meetings are now normal. Online learning is now normal. Like, you don't have to be explaining to people, oh, this session has to be held online. Like, people now get it. Like, everybody has gone with the program. And even when the pandemic is over, it's not going to go back to the way it was. We're just going to continue like this. This is our new normal. So at the time, people did not even know that this thing existed, or did not really think that it was this massive. And so the book really was to open the eyes of people and to share the possibilities, right? To share the possibilities of what's possible. And then the second part of the book is that we focused on breaking down the mindset blocks, breaking down the negative beliefs, breaking down the thoughts that I was holding people back. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I can't come on camera. My voice sounds different. My accent is different. All sorts of excuses we used to give. And so we really addressed the fears so that they could get started. And then the third part of the book, we talked about, my proven framework for creating and launching very profitable online courses. Because at this point, I had launched several online courses. Well, let me tell you about that. When I launched my first online course and I saw that it was making money and it was also impacting people's lives, somebody actually wrote to me and said, Stephanie, when I signed up for your online course, I was in a bad phase in my life. I was out of a very abusive relationship, and my self-esteem was gone. But I saw you online, you were smiling, you were talking to me about how I could start a business. I believed you, I paid for your course, and now I've started my business. I'm making my own money. I'm empowered. I decided to go back to school. So when I was hearing this kind of stories, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can impact lives and I can make money too. Let me go and do this full time. So I quit my job. I used to work at the multinational at the time. I quit my job. I went into it full time. So I'm one of those people who, when I want to go into a new venture, I burn the boats. Like I said, there's no plan B. There's no other option. I'm going in. I went full in. But then it became a struggle because I started launching online course after online course, online course after online course, and I started struggling. It's almost as if I was a one-hit wonder. I could not replicate the success I had with my initial course. Excuse me. I couldn't replicate the success I had in my initial course. So I was always creating one course after the other, online course after online course. I was always creating and selling online courses. Sometimes I would successfully sell one. Sometimes I would hear crickets. And this is how I created over 20 online courses. 20. I don't advise anybody to do that. Please don't create 20 courses. But I did. And in the process, I began to master what works and what doesn't work. All right. What to do, how to do it, when to do it. And that's how I became sort of a master or an expert in online courses. And I didn't even realize how much expertise I had built until people started coming to me to ask me, Stephanie, come and show me how you're creating online courses. And I would confess that initially I struggled with this a bit. I was like, oh no, just go and do it. Just do it, it's easy. And they were like, no, Stephanie, we've tried. That's why we're coming to you to say, show us exactly how you're getting this result. And so we had to create a framework around that. And I shared that framework in the book. It's a framework that has worked for me and has worked for many of my clients. So those are the major things that we highlighted in the book. I was very excited that the book project became life because it took a while to write the book. It was a struggle to write the book, but it came life and it has impacted so many people, and I'm grateful for that.
Congratulations on becoming a number one bestseller. It's easy, but it's not. Sometimes it's I co-authored a book last year and we got number one in 8 countries, and it's not that easy to become number one. It's you sell a certain number, you become number one in 1 country, but we became number one in 8, and it was in countries we didn't even think that would even come around to promoting us. So it was like a surprise, but it was awesome too. So yeah, loved it. So Stephanie, where can people find you if they want to work with you?
Okay, so the best place to find me is my website, www.stephanieobi.com. But more specifically, we have a webinar where we share our methodology, our framework. And so we always recommend that you watch the webinar first, see how we work, see our methodology. And if you're interested in implementing that framework, you can then apply to work with us. So I can share the link to the webinar in the notes below.
Yep, that would be great. Yeah, I'll get that off you.
Yeah,
that'd be good. And I can copy.
All right. And another easy way to find us is on Instagram at Stephobi.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to have a look and follow you now.
All right. Thank you.
I guess the final thing is, are you going to write another book?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was writing 2 more books.
Very good. Very good. And any last words of wisdom that you'd like to pass on?
Yes, I want to share with anybody listening to this that you are enough. You are enough. You are enough. It doesn't matter whether you feel that there's still some area of improvement for you. There will always be room for improvement. The greatest room in the world is the room for improvement. But right now, where you are is enough. You have already achieved something that other people are praying to achieve. And so if you decide to show up, if you decide to package your expertise, if you decide to share your expertise, if you decide to help other people, you'll be amazed at what your life will look like in a few years' time. You will not only change your life, you will also change the lives of so many people. You'll be building such a huge, huge, huge legacy. Telling you, but please, 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 if there's anything that you remember from this interview, I want you to remember that you are enough. Thank you so much, Rose.
You're welcome. And they're very wise words. Yes. And it's, a lot of times as women, we forget that we are enough. Doesn't matter, what we're doing with our life, but we are enough. And so sometimes we just need to be reminded of that. Anyway, it's been my very great pleasure to learn from you and to speak with you today. Thank you so much for your time. And I will talk to you again really soon.
All right.
Thanks for joining me on Talking with the Experts. Make sure you subscribe through your favourite podcast app or on YouTube, and check out my Patreon page for more value for you, or you can buy me a coffee. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. I look forward to your company next time when I'm talking with the experts.